What's the most creepy thing you've ever witnessed?
When I was about 12, I was sleeping on my trampoline with a friend, and we heard the bushes move behind us and flashed our flashlight to the bushes, and a mountain lion was laying there stalking us. I have never ran so fast in my life.
This guy followed me home, said he saw me there often, and named a few local spots I go to sometimes as places he sees me.
I had a scene straight out a horror movie play out for me a couple years ago. I was sitting out back with my friend when I see my neighbor in his house. We meet eyes, I wave, he waves, only one problem. That wasn't my neighbor. I tell my friend we gotta go inside, now. We turn the lights off and lock the doors. Then I shoot my neighbor a text asking if he has any guess. He says no, so I call the cops. My neighbor calls as well. Guy was still there when the cops arrived. Apparently he was dumb enough to think I didn't recognize he wasn't my neighbor. One random night in middle school, I woke up and had the odd feeling that something or someone was present in the house and coming towards my room. I was scared, so I closed my eyes to pretend to be asleep. I could faintly hear something come in my room, and it felt like someone was standing over me, looking to make sure I was asleep. I laid on my back, eyes shut, until the feeling passed, and ended up falling asleep. I woke up in the morning to find out that our house was robbed. I was driving to work one day when a guy on a motorcycle drove by me, going very fast. I drove along for a while until the traffic suddenly slowed way down. I creeped up and saw a sneaker in the road, then a blood shirt, and then a body being covered by a cop holding a sheet. It seems the guy had slammed into the back of the cop car and was killed. I was in a restaurant years ago on lunch break. At the time, I was a very thin 25-year-old woman. There was this big, creepy guy sitting there who would not stop staring at me from the moment I walked in the door. I mean, just open-faced staring without blinking for the entire 15 minutes. Weston was eating several seats away. I asked for a box and left early to get away from him. As I walked out, he said, "You shouldn't be out alone. Someone's going to grab you and steal you away." 100% convinced Creepazoid had someone locked up in his basement. About 25 years ago, a few days after my cousin's wedding, a large group of us decided to go out drinking one night in Portland, Maine. We decided to walk from my aunt's house to the bar and back so no one would be driving. On the way back from the bar, we cut down a dark residential street, and there was a large guy just standing there holding a hammer. It's like 2 a.m., and there is this large guy just standing in the street holding a hammer. A few of us asked what he was doing as we walked by, but he just stood there watching us as we walked down the street. The guy never said a word. Luckily, there were 12 of us in the group because who knows what this guy was up to. He gave off some creepy Jason Voorhees vibes, that's for sure. When I was probably 15L, went kayaking with some friends. We came across what looked like a log in the water. There were some people on shore that were waving us over, saying someone was probably trapped under the canoe. They used one of our kayaks to go out and look. There was a kid only a few years older than us that had gotten wrapped up in some rope when the canoe turned over. He didn't make it. They found his dad a few days later. Also didn't make it. That image I will never get out of my mind. My boyfriend in college sat bolt upright in his sleep and said, "Don't look. If you make eye contact with it, it will kill us both." Then he fell back down, still asleep. Damn near peed myself. A few months ago, we were at a relative's house. When we were going back home at 2 to 3 a.m., we saw a guy covered head to toe in blood walking, or at least trying to. He started signaling, but we didn't stop because we didn't know what to do. We immediately called the cops and told them what we've seen. They said to lock the doors and windows and don't stop. Then they kept calling us back, asking about the exact location. They called us back over 5 times and they never found him. Edit. A lot of people seem to think he was in a car crash, but he was exiting a building, or at least it seemed like it. There weren't cars around except parked ones. Should have said that previously, my bad. My brother after his overdose. Dude looked like a translucent bluish-red color, covered in his own puke, jaw tensed shut. My dad and I thought he was dead, but we worked on him anyway. Pretty sure I chipped some of his teeth prying his mouth open. I cleared his airway. Me and my dad traded compressions until he sent me outside to flag down the ambulance. And that fucking goober survived. He's been sober from hard drugs for 7+ years, sober from drinking for 5+, 2 beautiful daughters and a wife. Subscribe for more story, bro.